Hello and welcome to Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I'm Erin Hines, your darn good business coach, here to help you break the rules, trust your instincts, and own your brilliance unapologetically. In this space, we blend the power of human design with real-world business strategy, so you can ditch the shoulds, embrace your true self, and create a life and career that lights you up every single day. Ready to rebel, rise, and redefine success on your terms? Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, and welcome back to Rebel to Rise. Today's topic is discomfort. Yes, I am going to go there. We're going to talk all about what it really means to step out of your comfort zone and into your next level of leadership. Because when you're staying safe, playing small and avoiding risk, it might feel comfortable in the short term, but it's one of the biggest things holding you back from building the business and life you've always wanted. So let me first talk about why playing it safe is keeping you stuck. Strategy only takes you so far. You could plan, you could journal, you could set goals, you can map out that perfect funnel. But if you don't learn to lead yourself through discomfort, you'll keep spinning your wheels. Playing safe over and over and expecting a different result is what is keeping you stuck. I see it all the time in my clients, and I've definitely seen it in myself. You say you want to grow, but you're avoiding making that new hire. You want more visibility, but you turn down speaking opportunities. You set a big revenue goal, but you play it safe with your offers. And I get it. Your human self wants you to stay safe. You always want to be safe. You don't want to be put in danger. It wants comfort. It wants certainty. But your higher self, she craves expansion. Every time you lean into something uncomfortable, you're building proof with yourself that you're capable of more than you think. And that is where your next level lives. Let me give you a real example from my life just recently. This past January, I was invited to speak at a local event for women in business. I was given the option to go live and speak in person, or I could speak over Zoom at a later date. My first gut reaction was, do it over Zoom. But I knew to pause and use my human design, specifically my emotional authority, which is how I make decisions. And I sat with my emotions and I realized that this fear was coming up of all the possibilities that might go wrong if I went live in person. But I also realized this was my signal that this was the next level of growth for me. This was my growth edge. I started thinking back to my days at the Cal Poly Rose Float. I used to speak in front of hundreds of people, do live TV interviews. I was nervous then, but I did it anyways, and I did a great job. So if 20-year-old Erin could do that, CEO Erin definitely could do that. I was capable of doing this. So I said yes to speaking in person, and I was still nervous. My mind was making up all these stories of how it could play out, but I still did it anyways. And after the event, I mentioned to someone that I was so nervous before I went on to speak. And they could not believe there was any way I was nervous based on how well I spoke during my presentation. And I knew instantly that that speaking opportunity was the push I needed to remind myself of how much more capable I am than my fears tell me. Growth doesn't happen when we're comfortable. It happens when we move through fear without waiting for evidence that everything would work out. If I waited for the evidence that my in-person speaking event was going to go amazing, I would still be waiting because there's never going to be that perfect moment to do something. You just need to push through the fear and do it anyways. And here's what I want you to know. Discomfort is often just unprocessed emotion. You might be avoiding that big decision because you don't want to feel rejected. You procrastinate launching your offer because you're scared of disappointment. You might keep scrolling because you know when you stop scrolling, you'll have to go back to real life and try to live up to the expectations of others. You overwork instead of resting because guilt creeps in every time you try resting. It's so much easier to keep go, go, go then feel your emotions. And I know this so well because I did this for so many years. But the more you avoid those feelings, the more they control you. You don't need to get rid of your emotions. You need to feel them so they move. Emotions are energy, and energy always wants to be moving. They don't disappear. You either need to process them or they'll start leaking sideways and slowly take over your life. So let yourself feel. Dance, scream into a pillow, cry, breathe, shake, journal, whatever helps you process. Because when you allow discomfort without judgment, you create a space for clarity, creativity, and courage. It's not about suffering, it's about expanding. So I want to be clear. Discomfort does not mean suffering. You don't have to grind or hustle to prove yourself. But you do need to challenge yourself beyond your edges of comfort. Think of it like this. Discomfort equals growth. Suffering equals ignoring your truth. There is a difference. And no, you don't need to suffer your way to be successful. Success can come with more ease. The moment you say, I'm ready for more, life will rise to meet you. But that means showing up, making bold decisions, and pushing beyond what feels familiar, what feels safe. That is what leadership is. So I want to give you some tangible tools to navigate this discomfort. Let's make this practical. Here are 5 ways to lean into discomfort and start regulating your nervous system when you get all these emotions of fear and the butterflies in your stomach and just ugh. First, I want you to breathe through it. Try box breathing or long exhales to calm your body when fear hits. Breathing is very underrated, and most of us forget how powerful our breath can be. It can instantly get you out of fight or flight and tell your brain that there's nothing to fear, you are safe. Number 2, ask yourself, what would my higher self do? It's amazing when you ask yourself these questions how you'll get more clarity and realize fear is not holding you back. When fear speaks, get curious. Pause and ask yourself, is this fear or is this growth calling? And also ask yourself, if you knew everything would work out, how would you respond? Number 3, journal out this story you're telling yourself. What is fear saying? What's the worst case scenario that you're imagining? Is it true? Is it the end of the world if that does happen? This really helps to disarm the story when you start journaling it out and getting it out of you instead of just circling around in your mind. And number 4, take one small, bold step. Book the meeting, pitch the investor, raise your prices, say the scary thing. Your courage grows with the more action you take. No matter how small that action might feel, the more small, bold steps you could take, the less scary those big steps will feel. And number 5, celebrate your discomfort. Seriously, when you do something uncomfortable, celebrate the crap out of it. Your nervous system needs to know it's safe. Even though it was uncomfortable, you survived. Celebrate that. Shout it from the mountains how awesome you are and celebrate what you accomplished. It might seem silly, but the more you celebrate your small steps of discomfort, the better and easier it is going to be when you do big, uncomfortable steps. Learning to push through fear is an act of rebellion. It takes a rebel to break the mold and not be a bitch to fear. That is how you start living the life you've dreamed of. And that is what self-leadership looks like. Doing the uncomfortable isn't about proving anything. It's about embodying your potential. It's those moments you choose to not be a bitch to fear and do this scary thing anyways that move you from who you are now to who you're becoming, who you dream of being. It's how you quantum leap. It's how you stop abandoning your desires and how you feel fulfilled at the end of the day. You don't need permission. You just need to practice. And the more you practice doing hard things, the more powerful you become. Because you're not here to play small. You're here to rebel. You're here to rise. You're here to lead. Even if your hands shake while doing it. So, what's your discomfort edge this week? What's one move you've been avoiding that could shift everything for you? I really hope this episode gave you that loving little push you needed to go do the uncomfortable thing you've been avoiding. If so, I want to hear about it. DM me your biggest takeaway or tag me when you do that scary thing and you're celebrating it and sharing it with the world, what you've accomplished. And until next time, keep rebelling, keep rising. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Rebel to Rise, where business meets human design. I hope you feel inspired to break free from those shoulds in your life and trust your inner compass as you create a life and business that truly lights you up. Remember, every day is a chance to rebel against the ordinary and rise into your authentic power. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow rebel who's ready to lead their lives unapologetically. Until next time, keep trusting your intuition, keep breaking the rules, and most importantly, keep rising.